So you know what time of the year it is when you're driving down the side of the roads and you see signs saying vote yes on this or vote no on that, to vote for this person or to not vote for this person? And you especially know it's voting time when you're sitting at home and you're watching TV and there's ads on TV telling you the same thing, giving conflicting stories and stuff. And when I was sitting watching TV, I saw an ad for Proposition 34, which was explaining that the death sentence would be replaced with life without the possibility of parole. And it kind of astounded me because I was like, it seemed like such a moral issue, I didn't understand why it was even on the ballot. And so I decided to look into it, and I was completely wrong. There's a whole financial side to the issue, and I feel like a lot of Americans didn't understand that as well, so I'm going to explain that to you today. In this speech today, I'm going to explain the cost difference between a regular inmate and an inmate serving the death sentence. I'm going to explain to you the appeal process and how that works, and I'm also going to explain to you how California can generate money if Proposition 34 is passed. So first, I'm going to explain to you how the cost difference between a normal inmate and an inmate serving the death penalty is completely different. In 2008 and 2009, it was estimated that to house an inmate, it was $47,000 a year. That's a large number, and it includes health care, the security watch over them, transportation, their religious practices, and all that. While that number is high, the cost to house an inmate on death row is $90,000 extra. Now, the difference between the death sentence and life without the possibility of parole is that when you're serving the death sentence, you're basically in jail or prison until you're legally executed. And if you're serving a life without the possibility of parole, you're in prison or jail until you die, and there's no possibility of you getting out on probation or on house arrest. And the reason for the great cost difference is partly due to the appeal process and how inmates on death row file a lot of appeals. And how the appeal process works is basically according to lawfirm.com, the losing party can file for an appeal, which is basically to have their trial reheard to try to get a different sentencing or to get less time. And they try to disprove the facts that were stated in the previous trial. And not only does this take time, but it takes a lot of money, and it backs up the court systems. And there's a lot of people waiting to have trials, and it makes the person on death row die of old age before they get legally executed. And according to Jim Mahak, he's a certified appeal specialist. He states that in Orange County, it's approximately 3 to 4 months just for someone to see your appeal. That's not for it to be granted or denied. That's just for someone to actually see that you filed for one. And in other counties, it can take up to 10 months just for that to happen as well. So it's taking a lot of time, and it's taking a lot of money that the taxpayers have to pay because the inmates aren't paying for this. It's us, the taxpayers, who are paying for this. And not only that, but the last thing I wanted to explain to you about is how Proposition 34 will generate money for the state of California, because it's estimated by Arthur Alcove. He's a judge. He estimates that currently if all the inmates who were sentenced to the death penalty were switched over to life without the possibility of parole, the state of California would save $170 million a year just by switching them over. And not only would we generate money from that, but according to the ballot proposition online, they state how the inmates would be required to work, and the money that they earn wouldn't go to them, but instead it would go to help pay for their fees that were generated by their court cases and their trial and everything. So we'd be earning a lot more money if it was voted upon yes. So today in this speech, I explained to you the difference between housing a regular inmate and housing an inmate serving the death sentence. And I also explained to you how if Proposition 34 was approved, we'd be saving, California would be generating a lot more money. And I also explained to you the appeal process and how it works. And this time, hopefully when it's voting time next year, when you see the ads on TV and you see the signs, you won't be so narrow-minded as I was at first, and you'll take the time to investigate the issues and find out what the deal is for yourselves. Thank you.